Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Time of the Wolf. And this movie came out in 2003 and is directed by Michael Haneke, the same director who did Seventh Continent, Benny's Video, and 71 Fragments. And he also did Funny Games, and he also did the 2007 version as well. He has also made Code Unknown, which I liked, but it just didn't affect me as much. The White Ribbon, Cache, Amore, The Piano Teacher as well, and lots of really fantastic movies that I really loved. And this was one of the ones I haven't seen yet. And there are still a couple that I have yet to get to, but the ones that I have seen I think are pretty great. The only one I would say I don't love entirely would be Code Unknown, but I would need to see it a second time. But this one I feel as though I got a decent amount out of, and I will say this one was one of my least favorite ones from him, but it's still a great, and I like it better than Code Unknown. I can say that much with confidence. And with all of his movies, I love the lack of music and how it just affects every scene in this movie. It adds to the atmosphere, it adds to what these characters are feeling. And when the movie started, I was thinking of how this movie would eventually turn out to be, and how it's just going to be kind of a traditional narrative structure of how things just get worse and worse for these characters as time goes on. But believe it or not, the movie kind of does that, but it also has its unique way of doing that, and just takes directions that you might not expect. And I thought that was very nice. And that's what he's pretty much known for, making films that are challenging and unique, and not for people who are looking for a traditional narrative structure, with the exception of, I guess, Amore. And I would have to rewatch The White Ribbon to also know the answer to that, if that's also an exception. But like all of his movies, the film looks beautiful. Every shot is just so memorable, and I just love the look of this movie. And Isabelle Huppert, if I pronounced that correctly, she did a really great job. She was also in Amore and The Piano Teacher. She was really great in this movie as well, from what I could tell. And without her, I don't think the movie would work as well. I'm sure it would still be great, and the performances would still be great, because I just believe that Michel Haneke is capable of getting a great performance from just about anyone, because he's really meticulous and really tries to make a really great film, and is very self-critical about what he makes. At least that's the impression that I get from his movies. But with all that said, I do think Isabelle Huppert added a lot to this film, and it's still nice to see her at the very least. I can say that much about her. And this movie also had a pretty strong opening as well, and without spoiling anything, it reminded me very hard of Funny Games. I'm not going to lie. I was thinking of Funny Games, so when this movie started, I was like, oh, we're doing this already. But shortly after that, it just kind of turns into its own thing. And I like that about the movie. And it stays unpredictable throughout the entire runtime, and it's not afraid to get dark and depressing and to just show you things that are just not something you would want to see. Not to say that it's consistently disturbing or like violent throughout. It's more or less just like the sad and depressing nature of what these characters are in. And you do feel the emotions, or at least I did, at the very least. There was also a scene where the main characters were trying to catch a bird, and the way it was executed almost felt like an action scene, and I thought it worked out pretty well. And I found it to be kind of crazy that the bird was in frame the entire time whenever the camera was focusing on the bird, even if it was just flying around. I was like, that's crazy to always focus on the bird and never have it be out of frame. That's awesome, in my opinion. I also enjoyed the kind of simplicity of the story. It's not a super complicated plot. In fact, there isn't really much of a plot in this movie, without spoiling anything. It's just mostly watching these characters survive this journey, and I also enjoyed how things were reincorporated into the film. And one thing that I really liked is the kind of shift of focus that we got. Or at least that's what I kind of felt about halfway through. Maybe it was like that the entire time, and I just noticed it halfway through, but there was one kind of shift in focus, at the very least, in my opinion, where I kind of felt as though, oh, this works. I am surprised that you did that, and it still works very well. Like nothing fell apart and nothing felt unfocused. It just went along very smoothly. And to get into my issues with this movie, there were some parts, I'm not going to name anything specifically right now, obviously, because I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but there are some parts in this movie where I just don't fully connect with what's going on, because it just feels like, okay, it's nothing super important to me, and I just kind of didn't feel as though I needed to fully pay attention, and also there are some emotional beats that didn't quite hit me in the way that they were supposed to. Mostly because I just didn't feel as though the build-up was there, but I understood why characters were feeling in the way that they were. It was just my emotional experience that was lacking. Not to do with like, oh, a character is feeling this way and it just doesn't make sense to me. It's mostly just my emotional experience is what I'm trying to communicate here. And this isn't really a flaw with the film, but I'm still kind of processing what the title of the film means. I do have my own ideas as to what it means, but I feel like I'm going to have to rewatch the movie to really fully get the understanding of what it's going for. And I do feel as though this movie might benefit from multiple viewings. And so that much I am looking forward to kind of see, okay, what's really going on here? What do I really connect with in this movie? And what does this ultimately mean to me? That's just what's kind of on my mind as to what I would imagine rewatching this movie would be. But anyways, that's about all I have to say about Time of the Wolf. I thought it was great overall. I liked it better than Code Unknown, and I feel like anything that's better than Code Unknown, I would say, is great. That was just a bit below the others for me personally, but anyways, I wouldn't recommend starting with this one. You're probably not going to get much out of it. It is a very slow-paced film that you have to be patient for, but if you don't mind that and you're looking for something unique, then check it out. And with all that being said, I'm going to give Time of the Wolf an 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of Time of the Wolf, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Nouvelle Vague. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.